Be sure to hit that like button, share your insights in the comments, and subscribe to embark on this journey with us as we unveil our latest tales. That night unfolded in ways I could never have imagined, forever altering my perception of the world around me. The path I had carved out for myself, the decisions that shaped my journey, and the man who had stood by my side for more than 10 years. Yet there are moments that catch you off guard, emerging unexpectedly, like a flawlessly orchestrated symphony, with each note resonating profoundly within your soul. The evening began like any other, cloaked in the familiar shadows of routine. The company's annual gala had just concluded, and the city lights danced like stars through the expansive glass windows of the rooftop venue. The laughter of my colleagues lingered in the air like a haunting melody as I stepped outside, drawing in the crisp night air, thankful to escape the clamor that surrounded me. The sharp pinch of my heels served as a constant reminder of the grueling hours I had endured, standing and smiling each moment, a test of endurance. As I prepared to leave, I glanced back at him, William Hayes, the man who had been my boss for the last 12 years. With silver threading through his temples and a wardrobe that spoke of meticulous care, he moved with the assuredness of a man who had forged his empire from nothing. At 61, he exuded an air of composure and control, yet there was an unsettling shift in his expression that night, hinting at a deeper turmoil beneath the surface. I stepped outside for a breath of fresh air, a faint smile playing on my lips. The night pulsed with energy, a whirlwind of laughter and music that lingered in the air long after the last guest had departed. He moved closer, hands buried deep in his pockets, the familiar command in his demeanor gently muted by the warm embrace of the streetlights. It was a moment suspended in time. But I must confess, these events don't truly captivate me. A soft chuckle escaped my lips. Amusing. Each year, you welcome them with open arms. It's just business, he murmured, his head tilting slightly in my direction, a glint of something unreadable in his eyes. Yet you appeared to revel in the moment. I shrugged, the weight of indifference settling on my shoulders like a heavy cloak. I guess I've mastered the art of disguise. He released a soft chuckle, and for a fleeting moment, we lingered in a shared tranquil silence. The city pulsed with life around us. Yet in that fleeting moment, it was only the two of us, shoulder to shoulder, escaping the rigid confines of the office. Then emerged the words that caught me completely off guard. I'm not ready to go home yet. He confessed, a hint of vulnerability in his voice. Would you be so inclined to share a drink with me? My heart raced as uncertainty gripped me. Late-night calls and strategy meetings that lingered into the evening were a familiar rhythm for us, a dance of words and ideas that extended beyond the confines of our work. It was in those moments, under the cloak of darkness, that our conversations truly came alive. Yet this sensation was unlike any other. His tone held an unspoken weight, a subtle intensity that sent a thrill racing through my veins. Absolutely. At last, the words escaped my lips. Why not, indeed? As we strolled down the street, the vibrant glow of the downtown towers faded behind us, giving way to the hushed whispers of a more tranquil part of the city. He guided me into a cozy lounge where the dim lighting wrapped around us like a warm embrace, and the smooth notes of jazz floated through the air, setting the perfect mood. It was a realm where time seemed to stand still, a sanctuary shielded from the relentless pace of the outside world. As we nestled into a shadowy corner booth, he loosened his tie, a rare and telling gesture that sent a ripple of intrigue through the air. His gaze pierced through the surface, a deep and searching look that unveiled layers of me I never knew existed. You've been with the company a long time, he remarked, his voice low, as he swirled the amber liquid in his glass, the light catching its depths like secrets waiting to be uncovered. 12 long years, I gave a solemn nod, the weight of the moment hanging in the air around us. Have you ever pondered the haunting possibilities of a life lived on an alternate path? His question struck me like a bolt from the blue. Do you truly want to know if I harbor any regrets about the paths I've taken? He shook his head, a silent storm brewing within him. Never a moment of regret. A spark of curiosity ignited within me. Have you ever pondered the paths left unexplored? I released a long, measured breath. At some point, we all find ourselves in that moment of realization. Yet deep within my core, I have always held the conviction that each choice we make, every twist and turn we navigate, guides us precisely to the destination we are destined to reach. His lips curled into a smile at that moment. That perspective holds a depth of wisdom. For the first time in years, we engaged in a deep conversation, unraveling the threads of our past. It's not a tale of work, nor of deadlines or quarterly reports. It's a story about life itself. He recounted the tumultuous days of his youth, the relentless battles fought to forge the company, and the heart-wrenching sacrifices that accompanied each hard-won victory. I unveiled fragments of my soul, the aspirations that once ignited my spirit, the pivotal moments that carved my very being. Time twisted and melded into an indistinct haze. One drink flowed into two, then spiraled into three. And in that fleeting moment, as memories danced and laughter echoed the atmosphere around us, transformed. He extended his hand across the table, his fingers brushing lightly against the back of mine, tentative and probing, as if seeking something deeper. I remained steadfast, refusing to let go. In that fleeting instant, time seemed to freeze, and the world held its breath, teetering on the edge of uncertainty. And then, in a hushed tone, he confessed, "I've never shared this before, but my admiration for you runs deeper than your work alone. Your presence is magnetic, a force that anchors the world amidst the swirling chaos that surrounds us." My heart raced with anticipation. Compliments had always danced around me, but this one struck a chord deep within, resonating with an intensity I had never felt before. It was something deeper, something raw and unfiltered. It was a profound truth, an undeniable essence that resonated within. "You've always been my unwavering anchor," he continued, "and perhaps it took me far too long to grasp the depth of that significance." A lump formed in my throat as uncertainty gripped me, leaving me at a loss for words. He was more than just my boss. He was a figure I had revered for years, a presence whose judgment I had cherished more than I was willing to confess. And yet, as I sat there, enveloped in the warmth of the dimly lit lounge, my mind drifted far from thoughts of work or professionalism. His gaze lingered on me, a mixture of surprise and realization, as if he were finally uncovering a woman he had kept hidden from himself all along. I finally uttered the words, "I should probably head home." But even as they left my lips, doubt clung to my voice like a shadow. He scrutinized me intently, his gaze lingering before he finally nodded. "Allow me to guide you on this journey." The streets lay hushed, the city surrendering to the embrace of its late-night pulse. As we approached my building, we hesitated at the entrance, the air thick with unspoken words and anticipation. "Thank you for tonight," he said, his voice thick with emotion for listening. A smile crept across my face. "The same could be said of you." Time hung in the air, a moment suspended in uncertainty. And then, in a heartbeat before doubt could creep in, I leaned in just a fraction, just enough to bridge the distance. In that fleeting instant, the universe shrank to just the two of them, the echoes of the past and the whispers of the future dissolving into nothingness, leaving only the raw intensity of the present. But just as the moment hung in the air, I recoiled, my breath faltering. "Good night, James," I whispered, crossing the threshold, my heart racing as I fought to hold on to my resolve. With the door slamming shut behind me, I felt the cool wood against my back, my heart racing wildly in my chest. Because an undeniable change had woven itself into the fabric of our connection. And deep within me, a stirring realization took hold. This was merely the dawn of something far greater. As dawn broke, I found myself awake before the sun, my thoughts ensnared in the haunting echoes of the night before. The intensity of James's gaze pierced through me, his hand radiating warmth against mine, as unspoken words lingered in the charged air between us. For years, he had been nothing more than my boss, a figure of authority steeped in respect, shrouded in an impenetrable distance. Yet my thoughts were consumed by him, James, the man who had shed his defenses, who had shared his soul with a whisper of vulnerability, who had gazed at me in a way that sent my heart racing. I shook my head, attempting to dispel the swirling thoughts as I poured my steaming morning coffee, the rich aroma filling the air around me. This was utterly absurd. Silence hung in the air, thick and heavy, as if the world itself held its breath. Nothing had happened yet. The weight of anticipation lingered, a palpable tension that hinted at the storm brewing just beneath the surface. Nothing was destined to unfold. As I stepped into the office, an unsettling tension enveloped me, a palpable shift in the very air that surrounded me. Through the glass of his office, I glimpsed him, a figure shrouded in mystery. In the midst of his conversation, a fleeting instant occurred when his gaze lifted, locking onto mine with an intensity that sent a shiver down my spine. Silence hung in the air, a moment suspended in time. A moment of uncertainty hung in the air. In that fleeting moment, he offered me the faintest smile, a secret gesture meant solely for my eyes. A tempest brewed silently beneath my skin, a sensation both unsettling and electric. The day slipped away in a whirlwind of meetings and emails, yet my thoughts wandered restlessly, seeking something beyond the mundane. James's presence was more palpable than ever, his visits to my desk frequent, and lingering, his gaze locking onto mine for a heartbeat longer than it should have. As the sun began its descent, a sense of restlessness coursed through me. The weight of my thoughts pressed down on me, suffocating in their intensity. I craved the crisp embrace of fresh air, a breath of freedom to sweep away the chaos swirling in my mind. As I emerged onto the narrow office terrace, the sharp bite of the autumn air filled my lungs, awakening my senses. The city thrummed beneath a cacophony of distant honks and murmurs weaving together in a vibrant tapestry of life. Engulfed in my swirling thoughts, I remained oblivious to the soft creak of the door swinging open behind me. "You've been dodging my presence." James' voice flowed smoothly, yet beneath the surface, a sharp tension lingered. I pivoted, a faint chuckle escaping my lips, masking the tension that lingered in the air. "Are you trying to escape me? That's quite the spectacle." He edged forward, hands buried deep in his pockets, his face a mask of inscrutable emotions. Could it be? With a heavy sigh, I pressed my fingers against my temples, feeling the weight of the world bearing down on me. James. The events of last night linger in the shadows. It was unlike anything I had ever known, and he completed my thoughts with a knowing glance. "I understand." I gazed up at him, the man who had been my companion through countless days, and yet in this fleeting moment, he seemed like a stranger. For the first time, I was truly seeing him, the layers of his being unfolding before my eyes. "We can't do this," I whispered, the weight of the words pressing down on me, their emptiness echoing in the silence that followed. He locked his gaze onto mine, the silence stretching between us like a taut wire, before finally releasing a heavy breath. "I can sense your thoughts swirling, the unease creeping in the realization that this is perilous, that it alters everything. It alters everything," I declared with conviction. "James, you hold the reins here. In a world governed by unyielding rules and unspoken expectations, every choice carries weight, every action reverberates through the fabric of existence. I don't care about rules." He interrupted, his voice a low rumble, unwavering and intense. My gaze locked onto him, unyielding and intense. This was not the poised, strategic man I once recognized. This was a different person entirely. A rare moment for someone where thoughts of business control and responsibility faded into the background. His thoughts lingered on me. "You're making this more complicated than it needs to be," he said, his voice now laced with a gentler undertone. Last night, the boundaries of our roles faded away. In that moment, we were merely two souls adrift in a vast sea of uncertainty. And I can't shake the feeling deep down that we both experienced something profound. I gulped, the weight of the moment pressing down on me. Just because it is so doesn't make it just. He tilted his head, his eyes piercing into mine, as if seeking answers hidden deep within. "And yet you haven't denied that you feel it as well." I parted my lips, yet silence enveloped me. The truth loomed between us, a weighty presence that was both undeniable and raw. A sensation stirred within me, a sensation long forgotten stirring within me once more. He edged forward, his voice a mere breath laced with urgency. "Challenge me, and I'll let it go. Last night will fade into the shadows of my memory, a whisper of a moment I'll never acknowledge again." A longing stirred within me. I yearned to voice the unspoken, to distance myself, to cling to the illusion that everything could revert to its former state. Yet I chose not to, because uncertainty gnawed at me, leaving me hesitant and unsure. The air around us shimmered with tension, an unseen force drawing us nearer, as if the very universe conspired to unite our fates. My breath caught in my throat as he extended his hand, his fingertips grazing my wrist with a tantalizing lightness. A question lingering in the air, waiting for an answer. Not a demand, but an invitation to explore the depths of curiosity. For the first time in years, my mind craved silence, a refuge from the relentless tide of thoughts. I remained right there, unyielding. James' fingertips brushed against the inside of my wrist, igniting a spark that coursed through me like wildfire. My heart raced, the heat of his touch, igniting a subtle tremor within me. For years, I had been confined within the rigid walls of expectation, of who I was supposed to be, of the path my career should follow, of the milestones dictated by my age. My existence was meticulously crafted, a tapestry woven from threads of predictability and reason. As I stood there, James's gaze piercing through me like a bolt of lightning, I sensed the very walls around us tremble and shift, as if the world itself was reacting to this moment of revelation. He lingered in the shadows, his gaze fixed on me, searching for the slightest hint that I craved this as intensely as he did, and in that fleeting moment, I surrendered to the inevitable. I exhaled slowly, the air escaping my lungs like a whispered secret. James, I have no idea what lies ahead. He offered a fleeting smile, a glimmer of warmth in the shadows. Neither do I, but that doesn't mean we should flee from it. A chilling breeze swept across the terrace, sending a shiver down my spine. He caught sight of it, instantly shedding his suit jacket and letting it cascade over my shoulders. His scent enveloped me, a whisper of spiced cologne, warm and familiar, wrapping around me like a comforting embrace. "Come on!" He urged, his gaze fixed on the office door, a silent invitation hanging in the air. "We need to escape this place." My heart raced as uncertainty gripped me. "Are you saying right now?" "Why not indeed?" His voice danced lightly through the air, yet beneath that melody lay a current of quiet determination, a force waiting to be unleashed. I cast a furtive glance back through the glass doors, the world beyond them shrouded in mystery. The office buzzed with the electric pulse of the day's end, as people navigated the familiar rhythm of their routines, each step echoing with unspoken stories. As I stood on the threshold, a shiver of anticipation coursed through me. I could already envision the unfolding of the night, each moment etched in my mind with haunting clarity. I would collect my belongings, return to the solitude of my home, prepare a meal, and immerse myself in the silence, feigning that everything remained the same. Yet an undeniable shift had occurred. For the first time in what felt like ages, a spark ignited within me, urging me not to let this chance slip away. With a surprising steadiness, I sent my voice out into the silence. "Let's embark on this journey." We found ourselves in a secluded, softly illuminated restaurant just a few blocks away, a hidden gem where the melodies lingered softly in the air and the waiters whispered like guardians of secrets. James uncorked a bottle of wine, and as the first sip slid down my throat, a wave of warmth washed over me, coaxing my tension to dissolve. With a deliberate clink of my glass against the table, I leaned in closer, curiosity igniting within me. "So, what exactly are we doing here?" He reclined slightly, his gaze fixed on me, that familiar, enigmatic expression lingering on his face, just as it always did in the office. Yet tonight, an unsettling presence lingered in the air. "To be completely honest," he swirled his wine, the deep red liquid glinting as it danced in the light, captivating his gaze. "I longed for a place with you, a sanctuary where the masks could fall away and our true selves could finally breathe." I swallowed hard. Imagine his gaze locked onto mine. That final night held a significance beyond words. The words fell like stones between us, weighty and impossible to ignore. I parted my lips, a whirlwind of thoughts racing through my mind as I sought the perfect words to escape into the air. But this time, I craved recklessness. I felt the weight of each word, hesitant to dissect them before they escaped my mouth. I released a breath, the air escaping my lungs like a whisper of secrets untold. It truly did. A fleeting shadow danced across his features. A sense of relief washed over me, perhaps, or something far more profound lurking beneath the surface. Our conversation stretched into the night, each word weaving a tapestry of thoughts and emotions that held us captive. It's not about the grind nor the weight of obligations. It's about the connection between us. I revealed secrets that had remained locked away in the shadows of my mind for years. For years, I had devoted myself entirely to my career, allowing it to consume every waking moment. I had woven a tale in my mind, a narrative that love, passion, and connection were treasures meant for others, not for me. Young souls, individuals who possessed an abundance of time, as if the very fabric of existence stretched endlessly before them. James tuned in, his full attention captured. As silence enveloped the space between us, he leaned in, his fingers grazing mine in a touch that was both innocent and intentional, leaving me breathless. "You're not alone in that," he murmured, his voice low and steady, as if sharing a secret that hung heavy in the air, and I placed my trust in him. As we stepped out of the restaurant, the city had fallen into a hushed stillness. The streets shimmered under the warm amber glow of streetlights, while the distant hum of traffic wove through the silence that enveloped us. We wandered in silence, the weight of unspoken words hanging between us, neither willing to let the moment slip away. At the crosswalk, he halted, his gaze locking onto mine with an intensity that sent a shiver down my spine. "I don't want to rush this," he murmured, his voice laced with sincerity, "but I can't ignore the weight of what this truly means." My heart raced. James. He let out a low chuckle, shaking his head as if the absurdity of the moment was too much to bear. "It's a tangled web, I understand." A soft, breathy laugh escaped my lips. "That barely scratches the surface." We lingered in that moment, the city swirling around us, but it felt as if we were the last two souls on Earth, suspended in our own universe. In a moment that felt both electric and inevitable, I found myself stepping closer, driven by instinct rather than thought. James' breath caught in his throat, his gaze locked onto mine with an intensity that sent shivers down my spine. And then, at long last, I surrendered to the depths of my emotions. The kiss lingered hesitant, reminiscent of the initial chords of an unfamiliar song, a melody waiting to be discovered by our lips. His hand cradled the side of my face, a touch both careful and reverent, igniting a spark that sent shivers down my spine. As we finally broke apart, his forehead lingered softly against mine, a delicate connection that held the weight of unspoken words. "This alters the very fabric of our reality, doesn't it?" My voice barely escaped my lips, a mere breath in the silence. "It does," he murmured, a hint of intrigue in his voice, but perhaps that's not such a bad thing after all. As I shut my eyes, the warmth of the moment enveloped me, pulling me deeper into its embrace. Perhaps, just perhaps, he held the truth in his grasp. The dawn broke, and I found myself engulfed in a tempest of emotions, each one battling for dominance within me. A whirlwind of emotions surged within, a thrilling blend of anticipation and trepidation, each heartbeat echoing the unknown that lay ahead. The memory of last night clung to my lips, wrapped in the warmth of James' touch, and in the way he had gazed at me as if I were a treasure worth every moment of anticipation. Yet as the morning sun poured through my bedroom window, the grip of reality began to tighten once more. I remained bound to him as his employee. He remained my superior. We had crossed a line that could never be erased. The sudden buzz of my phone shattered the stillness on the nightstand, pulling me from the depths of silence. James stood at the edge of the world, the weight of his name echoing in the silence around him. The dawn broke, casting a soft glow over the world. "I hope there are no regrets." A flicker of a smile danced on my lips as I began to type my response. "I stand alone." In the shadows, you linger, a figure cloaked in mystery, waiting for the moment to step into the light. The air crackles with anticipation, and every heartbeat echoes with the promise of what's to come. You are the catalyst of change, the spark that ignites the fire of destiny. The world around you holds its breath, and in this stillness, your story begins to unfold. He reacted without hesitation. James stood at the edge of the world, the weight of his name echoing in the silence around him, not a soul in sight. Will our paths cross again later? A moment of uncertainty gripped me. Not because I lacked the desire, I did, but uncertainty loomed over what the future held for us. Is there a life beyond the confines of the office? Beyond the carefully traced boundaries we had adhered to for what felt like an eternity? I inhaled deeply, filling my lungs with the weight of the moment. Myself. Absolutely. But we must have a conversation first. As dusk settled, we gathered in a secluded park on the city's edge, a refuge from the clamor and the watchful gaze of our workplace. James stood there, a shadow of anticipation, leaning against the bench with his hands buried deep in his pockets, as if bracing himself for what was to come. As I drew nearer, he lifted his gaze, and for the first time, I caught a glimpse of a softness in his expression that took me by surprise. "Hey," he said, his voice cutting through the silence like a knife. "Hey," I whispered, my voice barely breaking the silence as I settled beside him. For a fleeting moment, we lingered in silence, captivated by the golden rays of the setting sun as they danced through the branches, casting enchanting shadows around us. Then I found my voice. "James, I must know the truth. What lies ahead from this point?" He released a breath as though the question had been hanging in the air, a weight he had long anticipated. "I don't have all the answers," he confessed, a shadow of uncertainty crossing his face. "Yet I am acutely aware of what I refuse to embrace. Last night lingers in the shadows, a moment too profound to be buried in silence." I nodded, the weight of the moment settling heavily upon me. "Neither do I." He pivoted in my direction. "Let's cast aside the shackles of rules and expectations. Let's weave our story together, no matter how it unfolds." I swallowed hard. "And what of work?" He let out a low, warm chuckle that seemed to linger in the air, wrapping around them like a gentle embrace. "I refuse to allow this to tarnish your future. Your efforts have been relentless, and they deserve more than this. Should the need arise, we will engage in a crucial discussion about the boundaries that define our office space. Yet I refuse to let the intricacies of logistics unravel what we have built together." His words sank into the depths of my being, stirring emotions I didn't know existed. For what feels like an eternity, I have allowed the shadows of my fear to shackle me, holding me back from daring to leap into the abyss of the unknown, from embracing emotions I convinced myself were reserved for the young and reckless. Yet there stood James right beside me, ready to unravel the mystery together. My fingers brushed against his hand, a spark igniting between us. "All right," I replied, my voice unwavering. "Let's embark on this journey and uncover what lies ahead." His smile radiated a sense of undeniable relief, a beacon of hope in the midst of uncertainty. As he drew me into a slow, lingering kiss beneath the dimming glow of the evening, a revelation washed over me. This was a night that spiraled into the extraordinary, forever etched in memory. A fresh chapter unfolded before them,